AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe. Hold up, y'all. Let me make sure the camera's right. Let me make sure the camera's tight. Are we live?
I think so, man.
Hold on. Let me make sure the camera's right. Let me make sure the camera's tight. Are we live?
I see the red bit button.
Okay. Big Flea, CO here, back at it again, y'all. Back at it again. Are we live, y'all? Are we live? Inaugural episode on the YouTube platform, on AllBall TV. From now on, you can find Are We Live on AllBall TV's channel. We are here, y'all. We are here, and we have a New York City's finest, a basketball lifer in the building, y'all. If y'all are not familiar with Are We Live, this platform is about celebrating former players, coaches, referees, anybody who's touched the game of basketball and has left their mark on them. We just love connecting with those brothers, tapping in, and just having good conversation on their journey. And tonight, you know, we got a pro, y'all. We got a pro. This brother played 18 years of professional basketball. His career took him all over the world. Not the United States, y'all. I said the world. So we in China, we in Mexico, we in Puerto Rico, Israel, Italy, just to name a few. And he did step his foot on that association floor, spending some time with the Golden State Warriors, spending some time with the Dallas Mavericks, hailing from Queens, New York. A lot of love for him because I'm from Queens too, y'all. Please help me welcome to the show, y'all, Mr. Shane Gadson, y'all.
Man, much respect. Thank you all.
Shane, we getting this
up,
done, brother. How
What's
you feeling, bro?
I mean, I'm golden, man. I couldn't complain, man. I'm in a great space. I love what you're doing, man. I love what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. That's amazing. Listen, man. Long time coming. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been having this podcast rocking for about 4 years now. You've been on my radar for a while. I'm gonna mess your head up a little because I wanted to tell you on screen and not privately, but we were supposed to connect a long time ago, maybe about 2 years ago. When I saved your number, I already saw that I had another Shane Gadson in my number. I had an old number, right? I had an old number. So we were supposed to get to this. Timing is everything, and so I'm so happy to have you on my platform, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I want to send the same flowers back, man, because for guys that's doing this, it takes effort, it takes research, and it takes energy and passion, and more importantly, it takes guests that want to get involved, that people they see love it, you know, and you definitely, you know, expose that, show that, and it's very professional and it's prestige, man. So yeah, I'm here, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate those words. Listen, I'm a Queens kid, man. I grew up in Queens, Cambria Heights, all over the boroughs. New York City is the mecca of basketball. I don't give a damn what none of these new niggas is saying today.
Yeah,
New York City will always be the mecca of basketball. With these conversations, though, bro, I like to start at the beginning and the inception, right? So, for you, when do you fall in love with the game? How do you fall in love with the game? What's your introduction to the game of basketball, brother? Talk to me.
So, Pop Dukes was a legend. You know, Pop Dukes, Wayne Gadson, he was a legend. Joe Hammett, the Destroyer, Earl Manigault, Vaughn Jackson from Polo Grounds. These guys knew about him. My pops was from Harlem. Heavy hitter. Stewart Park, average 53. I got articles to this day. He was important for me. He was an impact in my life. He was a guidance in my life. He was someone that said, hey, man, you know, you got to do what you got to do. That was one of his favorite slogans. And somehow, some way, basketball was like hereditary. It was like, yeah, you know what I mean? It was like almost, all right, I ain't go, but now I'm giving you the talent. And so when we was living like in Shadyville by 34th Park, you know.
Shout out to 34th Park. corner of Hollis and Springfield. Y'all know where it's at.
Let me add two names, man. I'm always remember Midnight and D. These guys were impressionable, but they was on their stuff. But I was just impressed about the basketball side of things with them. So for me, I was just more on some like, yo, let me go be in the park. I was right across the street. I was on 218, 21, 34th is across the street. Bro,
Yes,
it's literally right here.
Yeah.
The only time I went to the crib was to eat.
Okay.
I'm back in the park, back in the park, back in the park. And, just getting better that way. So, like, I think more or less basketball was in me. It was a passion, but it was also an outlet from the distractions I had going on personally in the crib. And then where we come up and, you decide on your routes. And I think for me, I seen enough to know, like, basketball was something I wanted to kind of pick up and try to learn and do. It was not something I looked at from an aspect of, damn, I could play AAU ball or I could get on a high school team. Nah, I was just, let me just rock. Let me get in this park. Let me just hoop. And the guys that's from those parks, they'll say the same thing. So everything I'm going to speak today, bro, is going to be honest and true, man. So that's how it started. But Wayne Gadson was the pillar to that. He was the one that said, hey, man, go play. Go play. Go start.
I love that. So many of these conversations start off with showing love to our pops, right? My dad was the one who put the ball in my hand, right? And was the one who guided me early on. And so, big shout out to the dads that really, pass it down to us, right? So, for me, I want to get into some culture, right? You grew up in Queens. You said your pops is Wayne Gadson. I didn't even put the two together, right? But, there's a culture in Harlem. There's a culture in Brooklyn, culture in the Bronx. There's a culture in Queens. And I'm talking about basketball culture. Talk to me a little bit about the culture that you grew up in basketball. This is the late 90s, early 2000s, all of that kind of stuff. You were 80s baby, like you said. What is the culture that you're growing up in within the time you're coming up?
Yeah, I'm coming up in it. And I gotta kind of revert back to my dad because for me, he didn't really put the ball in my hand and say, go get a scholarship, go to the league. It was like, go do this for an outlet. He was more on a religious base. He believed in God heavily. He canceled the league for a religion which was called Jehovah's Witness. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, you know what? I see more life in himself by trying to follow a road of instruction rather than destruction. And he felt like if he went down the road of basketball at that time when, a whole bunch, he was hanging around the Joe Hammonds, he was in those rooms and he was like, yo, I'm gonna just stay with the ball. But then he decided to kind of go the religious route. But for me coming up in New York is the Mecca, man. Come on. New York is the Mecca. I know guys are starting to like get away from it in other states and countries. I've been around the world and I hear the talk. New York is the Mecca. We are the Mecca. But I was one of those guys that traveled. I wasn't one of those guys that stayed in the borough. Like I told you, my uncle Vaughn, he's from Polo Ground. So he'll have me, him and my pops, they'll have me in Harlem hooping at a youngin'. I'm getting right. I'm getting busy. Young fellas like, old fellas like, yo, who's this? That's Wayne Gadson's son type stuff. But my pops is wild humble. But if you ask those legends, man, they'll tell you like the ones that still here. God bless Rodney Clark and Sid Jones. But the ones that really could talk about him, they'll tell you. But yeah, he allowed me to say, yo, man, if this is what you want to do, go hoop everywhere. Because you got to test to see where you at. And in the parks in New York at that time, they was better than NBA games today.
Come on. Cheyne. You go to the Rucker on any given day, right? During the summertime, that type of run. I got two of my co-hosts in the building with me right now. Big shout out to Fabian. Big shout out to AllBall. Those are my OGs. I love them to death. I appreciate them so much for allowing me to showcase this on our platform. But my OG, he from Harlem, right? And he would tell me, he continues to tell me stories to this day about the type of run that was happening on any given day in New York City. Sometimes better than the NBA. Like, what are some of your fondest memories coming up? You're talking about Wayne Gadson being such a legendary guy in street ball. Any fond memories of as you travel through the 5 boroughs that you want to share with us?
For myself?
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember going to Riverbank and getting 55 early, and I ain't really, I wasn't seasoned.
Okay.
I remember going to the Rucker and getting busy. They started calling me Young and Dangerous and Young Kobe. I
Okay.
remember going to Lincoln Park and they called me Young Dangerous because I was starting to get crazy, but nobody understood where the hell I came from. So I remember going to 47th, 174 and getting busy. Like I remember going 34th and getting busy. I remember going, like I was on just a tier of loving basketball. And so I just wanted to compete, man. I just wanted to compete against the greats. And at that time, what was so cool about it, I wasn't privy and aware to the old heads, like the Skips, the guys that was running, the Alamos, the Kareem Reed. I was oblivious because you know what? I'm gonna tell you that later once we die. But I was oblivious to all that. So
Okay.
for me, it was more or less, this is just what I do. And then I
Okay.
just started getting iller and iller and iller. And I traveled different parks, man. I didn't stay just in Queens, man. I thought that was best to really, see where your talent was by getting outside of your region and your comfortability.
For sure.
In every borough there's a different way of playing. You know what I'm saying?
So let's dive into that for a second.
Yeah.
Shane,
Yeah.
you a guy that traveled, like you said, right? You didn't stay in one borough. You wanted to get a feel for what's going on around the city.
Yeah.
We like to throw around this word tough, right? When we play basketball, we like to talk about guys being tough.
Yeah.
When you go around the city at your time of coming up, where's the best run at? Where's the best run at, Shane?
Hunter
Where you
College,
got
Hunter College, Nyack. You got to be invited by Milton Lee.
So talk about that run in there. What type of run is that?
John Strickland, Smush Parker, Mike Campbell, myself, pros coming in and out. But those were the basis of New York crop. I was the youngin' out the group.
Okay.
John Strickland took me by the neck one day because I was just getting busy. He was like, "Yo, young fella, I don't think you understand what you're doing. I don't understand. I don't understand. You think you know what you got."
Yeah.
Or I was on some different stuff at that time, coming down, just right. So he'll pull me aside, like, "Yo, bro, it's time to separate yourself."
Okay.
Rest in peace, John Strickland. I remember this to this day. He's like, "Yo, bro, you have a whole nother thing to you, bro. We not getting trained in Queens. We not going through the professionalism he has went through." So
Okay.
his experience and knowledge as an elder passed that down, and that run allowed me to say, "Oh, there's another level." And so Milton Lee would always invite me back, who's now an NBA executive, right?
Sure.
All the time, all the time. Right? I'm the youngin'. Also, Ross Burns used to be there from Pro Hoops, right?
Okay.
These guys could vouch for what I used to do. Like a lot of guys really probably aren't aware because I just kept a low profile of what I was doing. But these guys will probably vouch for it a lot. So yeah, that's where I thought the best run was. Outside of that, as far as just pickup run, no tournament.
Yeah.
Quality pickup run, no tournament. Probably Gary Prince. I was too young. They really wasn't letting me rock. That was like the Reggie Freeman, Mike Campbell.
Big shout out to Reggie Freeman. Okay.
Yeah, super, super, super.
Yeah.
These guys laid the foundation.
Actually, Freeman is out here. He lived in Houston. I'm in Houston. I live in Houston. So I think he's out here in Houston now. So
say that,
that's dope.
Say that.
That's
So
dope.
yeah, that group, and I was just kind of being a spectator and sponging.
Okay.
Because I wasn't really. Yeah.
No. This is your time. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I wasn't really a point guard and I wasn't seasoned.
Okay.
I was just a hooper, dude. Like, I've been hooping since a youngin', bro. Like, I hung around the guys. Like, basketball for me came later.
Okay.
If I'm making sense somewhat.
You making perfect sense. And that's where I wanted to go, because you are the son of Wayne Gadson, right? That's news to me, right? I'm learning something, right? So you have that level of pressure on you because that brother was nice, right? And so now his son is coming up. You in Queens, you in a culture where basketball is paramount, right? That's the top sport when we coming up. How will you navigate in staying out of the streets and staying focused? What's pulling you away from there and saying, yo, I gotta lock in over here because if I go this way, it ain't gonna work out.
That's why I started late. That's why I started late with basketball.
Okay.
And I wouldn't sit here and say the commonary way of doing things and ways of, you know, when we come up in uncircumstantial environments, I wouldn't say it was a way of the normal way of doing it, but
Right.
I was moving and grooving. I had cars early. I was moving. And so it was all about how can I be able to make some bread
Right.
as we all would like to coming up as peers,
Yeah.
and youngins. It didn't really click to, I got my Honda Accord, got my Honda Prelude, and I was like, all right, let me,
They don't
you
make
know,
those no more, y'all. He just said Honda Prelude. They don't make those. That's the
and let,
long back coupe, y'all. If y'all
shout
remember
out
the
to my,
Prelude,
shout out to my mother, man, because I left prep school and we had the illest accident, which was, I have 6 lives after that. So we had the illest accident with a Greyhound flip. We had a snowstorm and probably
wow.
everybody on that bus probably just should not be here. However, you know, we was able to get blessed and I went to go cop that car. And
Okay.
so I'm going through the surgery, like the rehabs, right, in Springfield, Queens, and my mom parked the car on some rush stuff because we late and my car get taken. But salute to my mom, man. She
Big
was
shout out to
just
Mom Dude.
trying,
Big shout out to Mom Dude. Big shout
she
out to
just
Mom
trying to
Dude.
show love.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the Prelude ain't around no more.
Now they don't make that. They don't make that no more. They don't make that no more.
I had the
Man.
blue coupe too.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. So listen, man. Unorthodox way of going about, getting to where you want to be, right? And we're gonna get into the steps that it took for you to get to the mountaintop, right? But for anybody in the chat right now, for anybody that's watching, for anybody that will watch, if you talking to a GM, if you talking to a scout, and we talking like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, and somebody says, yo, who is Cheyne Gadson as a basketball player? How do you describe yourself as a hooper? How do you run down your resume as a basketball player?
15 to 20 years ago?
Yes. How do you describe yourself as a basketball player?
So I'm 44, 15, 20 years ago, I would probably been overseas. How would I describe myself at that point as a basketball player?
Yeah.
Oh, I was on a mission. That's probably about the time when I entered Milan, Italy for 250,000 as a rookie. They didn't want to bring in one rookie, and I was a rookie, and that was the first rookie they brought in 9 years.
Okay.
So at that point in time, it was like, yeah, let's turn this wheel up. You know what I mean? And my guy, Brian Elfers, at that time, who got me that job. So a little backstory on that. That occurred because I was in Miami Heat's minicamp, and I
Okay.
was down there in the hotel. This is all facts, bro. I don't bogus. So
I'm sure. I'm
yeah,
sure.
I don't bogus, man, because it's a waste of time. So I'm in Miami. I'm in a mini camp, not a veterans camp, and I'm trying to get exposed. Everything for me, like you said, was unorthodox. So I was an underdog, and I was always trying to get my foot paid somehow.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So I'm in Miami, and Pat Riley calls my agent and says, "Hey, we got one more day. I think he's gonna be the MVP of the camp." Brian Elfers, as agents would do, whether good or bad, came in and said, "Hey, man, you could think about taking a possible, but I got 250 on the table for you in Milan, Italy."
Mm.
So that following morning, he gave me a day to rest on it. The following morning, I said, "I'm gonna go to the camp and let's just sign that deal, no matter what happens at this mini camp." So I was at that space because I was going through a lot of D-League tryouts, and it just kind of gets a little bit overwhelming when your funds get low.
Okay.
Because the dream was the ultimate goal. Funds catch up later. That was always my motto. So that's what I did. And that's how I wound up in Milan, Italy at that time. Where would I say I was in basketball? It was not a culture shock, it was a basketball shock because the way things were done was so different than how we do it in America. And maybe I
Right.
just wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if I was kind of privy to learning and knowing what I was walking into more or less, I would have had a good season. We was there with Maximo Balleri, Ansu Cisse,
Ansel.
Gallinari,
Mm-hmm.
Travis Watson and myself at the point guard, and I was averaging more than the national point guard. So, and we just wasn't winning. So that experience taught me a lot. That experience taught me a lot from the overseas perspective. But that was my first landing overseas. That was about 15 years ago. That was the time when I really started getting active overseas.
Okay. So let's take it back for a second, because people don't understand, you know, the exposure you've had in the game of basketball, right? You only play a couple of years of high school basketball, and you play Division I at Oklahoma State. You play for the legendary Eddie Sutton, right? And so if people are not familiar with Eddie Sutton, I'm gonna just say, go do your homework. We ain't gonna sit here and I ain't gonna school you on who Eddie Sutton is. You don't know who he is. Go do your homework. But my burning question, bro, is just flat out, what was it like being able to get tutelage from a guy like that?
Love your questions, beloved. It was an adjustment because I didn't know what I was. All right, so let me rewind. So it was an adjustment. I went from Westchester Community College to Oklahoma State Community College. Westchester Community College is not really known for basketball or athletics.
Right.
I go into a school that's completely known for that. The expectations of me is super high. I'm coming as an All-American, junior college champion, ran up the point guard, the leading assists, points per game. But when I get there, I took one visit. I only took one visit. There's a backstory to that. I only took one visit simply because, man, I was just tired of my conditions I was in at Westchester Community College. And I said, I need something. And so when that visit came, I went out there, man, and we are all, those that may be listening or those that's not, but you and I are from New York, and we know when we're trying to be big and do big things, you can do it in New York, but there's a little bit more of a support system and a little bit more peace outside of that when you're trying to focus on a goal. So for me, it was like, let me just try to get far away from anything that could be close to me, I could focus on what I see in front of me and try to obtain that. Unfortunately, going into Oklahoma State, I came in with a left knee meniscus injury and I wasn't aware of it. Myself, Shaq, Wally Zerbiak, we had a camp that summer in Ohio that Brad Slicer and Billy Slicer put me on to, and I was cooking. And he was playing aggressive D, and I think I stepped on his foot and I messed up my knee. So now I'm entering Oklahoma State with all these high expectations of me. And Murphy Grant, who's from the Cleveland Cavaliers to this day, is my friend. He was out training. He said, bro, you have a meniscus tear. And so that set me so much behind the eight ball, man. So much behind the eight ball because I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not going to speak from a medical standpoint. I think I was rushed back. So when I rushed back, I'm playing with a big brace on my knee. Didn't have the explosion I had from a youngin' when I was low down, dirty, climbing on brothers. So, you know, that's how that started with Oklahoma State, man.
So
in Italy.
You spent time playing in Oklahoma State. The 2 years that you played there, y'all won 20 plus games both seasons. Y'all was able to play in the NCAA tournament. We just watched the national championship last night. I know everybody watched Florida beat
my man
Houston.
Goldie. That's my man Goldie. Go get that, Goldie.
Yeah. So big shout out to Florida for bringing home the championship. But you were able to play with Mr. First Team All NBA, Mr. First Team All Defense, right? You was able to play with a young Tony Allen. Now everybody marvels over Tony being so great on defense. At Oklahoma State, again, I was a big college basketball fan, so I used to watch and I remember you guys and stuff like that. But for the people that's watching, not basketball, but how good was Tony Allen on the defensive end? You were a guy that got to a bucket. I'm sure y'all had some great matchups. How good was he on the defensive end?
Another solid too, man. You got great questions. I'm gonna say what he's gonna say, And when we get on the out the mud talk, he's gonna say what I'm gonna say. Everybody on the team knew I was the hardest person to guard on isolation situation.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on the team knew I was the best ball handler on the team. Everybody on the team knew I was the best playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
When I went up against Tony Allen, it was always hard to score. Always. And I'll say, we made each other better. He couldn't stay in front of me because I had so much bop, 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 but he was tough and he'll recover quick.
Mm-hmm.
So that by the time I shifted here, he's back in front of me to get towards the basket.
You got to go to your next counter. Like he's making you go. He's making you get in your bag.
I gotta go to my next counter, but then he's wiry strong. So by the time, right, I'm getting to my buckets, it's just challenging. Probably I said at that time, it's funny you asked this. I told somebody this recently. I said he's deserving this, and I want to get to Anthony Edwards because I'm a part of that too. But
Yeah, I know that. I got something for you. But go ahead.
Bless. He's deserving of that because KD will say it, Royal Ivy will say it, Tony Allen will say it, probably Stephen Graham will say it. That's the coach of them. I'm the best ball handler they ever went up against. But it was tough to score on Tony Allen. He was gritty, he was tough, and everything we see in the league, I got to see that early. And I said to myself, damn, these practices is gonna be tough.
Yes.
They're gonna be tough. You know, and then we all from that environment. So we'll do our one-on-ones, 2-on-2s when practice was over.
For sure.
And get into the regular mix of how we do it. And you know, he had his days, I had his days. But he wasn't an offensive guy.
Okay.
So it was a little easier to get a stop.
Okay.
Get a stop. But where he gets stops is he makes it harder for you to score. So the score always stays close.
Okay.
But yeah, super salute.
Yeah, big shout out to Tony.
Congratulations to Tony Allen for what he's done, where he's come from. I know his whole everything. I was his host on his recruiting trip. I'm probably an advocate of getting him there besides Glenn Cyprian. But salute to his retirement. Salute to what he's done in the game. He's done a lot. I like the way he's changing. I just love everything he's doing for himself. So salute to him. But yes, he's a tough defender, man. So Kobe ain't lie. He's a tough defender, bro.
What's I mentioned it earlier, and you used the word right now. So I'm gonna just ask you right now. I need your definition of tough. What's tough to you?
Tough is a mindset.
Okay.
Tough is a mindset. Tough is we had a back-to-back. I gotta get up and do the same thing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Tough is did I get my shots up before that game, even though I'm fatigued? Did I get my recovery in? Mm-hmm. Tough is being able to take a coach's assessment on you in a critical time, whether it be a tone that you're not appreciating, you get back out there and respond the correct way. Yes. Tough is grit. Tough is playing all four quarters through and through, no matter what happens at the end of the result. Tough is leaving the game with a loss with your head up. Tough is getting back in the gym when things ain't going well. Yeah, that's tough to me. Tough is a mindset.
No, because I think that was a beautiful answer, right? And it was everything for a guy who played at the level that you played. It's everything that I was like hoping that you would have said, right? You're a developmental guy right now. You're giving back to the youth, and you're also maintaining the guys that are active right now.
Correct.
What is tough today? And you know what I mean by why I'm asking that, Cheyne. Yeah. What is tough today, though? Everything that you just beautifully explained is what we grew up on. And again, this is a different time. I don't want to be that old nigga that's like, oh, this is it. Old man, get off my lawn type shit. But I'm being honest. Being tough is completely different in today's game. What does tough look like to you today?
It's a good freaking question, man. Tough is very different from our day, especially my day. Um, the physicality of the NBA game has changed. So there's not a point in time where we're looking at the game as, oh, this is a tough physical game, right? So to answer your question, I think it would go back to being tough in today's game would be stop this load management, right? I think it goes back to something. I'm gonna quote Anthony Edwards, man. Anthony Edwards said, "Guys don't compete night in and night out." The NBA back in the day, that's what was happening. Whether the rules have changed, we can't have control over that. Although we would like to see a little bit more hand checking, a little bit more, maybe not the brawls, but a little bit of brawls, right?
Right.
Just a little bit of more passion for the fans to be able to say, I'm paying $1 for something, I'm investing in it, and feel like they're giving me every dollar's worth.
Right.
I think we got to a point of just now skill. I think tough could look like skill and being physical. But yeah, I'm not gonna call these players non-tough because it's tough to get up every day and do what you do at a high rate.
For sure.
The game has completely changed from a physical aspect. And I think that's what guys like yourself, myself, would like to see them get back to. And then tough is just, again, going back to Anthony Edwards' quote, why not compete in the All-Star game? Why not go hard? What are we watching? Like, what are we watching? You know what I mean? So just be tough in those aspects. Be tough.
Yeah.
And I think the players are soft today. And I
Stay
don't
there.
mean,
Stay
I
there.
don't,
Stay there, Shane. Stay right there, Shane. Because I didn't want to be the one to do it. Comments, people that are gonna see this. Flea didn't do it. I didn't bring up soft. It was Shane. Let's stay here for a second, Shane. You did define what tough is, and I appreciate that, right? Because that's what it is. What is soft? Because I don't like to use the term, right? I don't like to use that term for athletes because, like you said, it's a grind to do this thing every day. But we are watching some guys that epitomize the word soft. So what is that to you?
Give me two of your words, and then give me two of your examples so we could.
Well, I look at it like this. The passion that everybody used to have for the game. When we played 5-on-5, all 10 guys on the court was going all out and giving they all, right? There wasn't a thought about, especially in the moment, there wasn't a thought about dollars and cents. There wasn't a thought about, where I'm going, what I'm doing. I'm competing against Shane right now.
Okay, I don't mean to cut your wisdom. Soft is
No,
LeBron.
go.
Soft is LeBron James changing the dynamic of the league.
Ooh, people.
No. I'll get hated on. It's fine.
Go.
And I'm gonna be a big name. I don't want the fame. I'm gonna be a big name, so he gonna hear it.
Yeah.
Soft is that. Soft is guys monopolizing teams. Guys wanting big threes. Okay. Soft is why we teaming up. View that. Carry the load. So in a big spectrum, soft is that for me. Soft is also load management if you're not hurt.
Okay.
I think it's a big spectrum rather than pointing out players being soft, right? Yeah. So from that aspect, I think the league could start looking at ways to intensify the game again, and make it a little bit more skilled while physical. Because I enjoy the game, but I don't enjoy the part where everybody's running to the 3-point line.
Okay.
And I went through an MBA program and learned analytics on it very recent. So from that point, I respect it. I don't like the way the game is grown, maybe because I'm older. It is what it is, right? We sometimes get stuck in our time.
I love the honesty, though. I love the honesty.
Yeah, I'm grown with the game. I am. I have to because I'm going to be a coach in the league. So I have to grow with the game. that's just my answers on the physicality and the softness of it, man. I
Yeah,
just think
I, I,
there's a mindset that has gotten a little bit weaker.
I truly appreciate I appreciate that. You have no idea. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. And a lot of the guys that are tuning in right now live with us are from an older school era, right? They used to a certain level of basketball. And so I'm sure that they really appreciated, you know, your commentary on that. So I appreciate that.
Quick example. Quick example. I came up in the era with Eddie Sutton, Tony Allen, Victor Williams, Maurice Baker. We put on helmets in
In
practice.
practice.
We put on helmets in practice for
In
rebound
practice.
for rebounding drills.
Come on.
It was called war. But I've also been in D League situations where, bro, I told you gloves is off. So where I've had Randy Livingston as my coach, and I had Devin Devendorf, who's I think is a coach now. He played at Syracuse.
Eric Devendorf, yeah.
Eric Devendorf. And I had Tony Bobbitt, and I had myself, and I had another teammate. And so unfortunately, we got into a little bit of a tussle and fight in the practice, me and Devendorf. But where we come from, let that happen, let the frustration go. That's part of the game. It's not violence, it's being physical and passionate about the sport we love.
Right.
Let these differences go in that moment and move on. So I come up in that era, right?
Okay.
I don't see coaches nowadays letting these players fuel it out. It don't have to be always, but let them feud it out because it's gonna get competitive.
Right.
And I don't know if that's the era that these coaches are practicing at. You know, we don't want violence. We do want competition.
Right. And there's a fine
So,
balance in that.
and there's a fine line between that.
Yes.
So ride it until the perspectives or the mature people come in and separate. But let that ride because you gotta learn your players.
Right.
So for me, that's the era I come up in, and I've had a lot of those, and they didn't work in my favor.
I appreciate that, Cheyne, for real, man.
So as a disclaimer, guys, don't get into incidents and practices. I don't encourage that, but I do encourage you standing for yourself.
Right.
Because there are some coaches that would appreciate that because they turn that into he's a tough guy on the court and he's not going for nothing. And if there's principle behind what you're doing, coaches will support that. But when you got hater coaches that look at you like, damn, I was in that position. Oh, he about to go up. Let's stop that. So let's go on.
Yeah.
Let's go on.
Yeah.
Let's go on.
Yeah.
But I don't mind going in, beloved. I
Yeah.
already addressed the person about it, so it's cool.
I love that. Listen, you mentioned Eric Devendorf, right? He played at Syracuse. Big shout out to Carmelo Anthony. He was just inducted first ballot Hall of Famer. So big shout out to Carmelo Anthony. But I mentioned Melo. He played at Syracuse. I hate to go back to probably a tough time for you, but you were chill, Shay. Hold on, Shay. Let me cook. Hold on, Shay. Let me cook. So 2003 NCAA tournament, we get a freshman from Baltimore with the braids that takes a Syracuse team through the entire season all the way to the national championship to beat a Kansas team. Now, on their run to the championship, they meet an Oklahoma State team that has Shane Gadson, a Tony Allen, a couple of other guys on that team. I remember because I was watching, I was in high school. I loved that run for Melo. You were a part of the run. You was in that tournament. So can you just talk about how talented Melo was at that time, a freshman, a young guy, and how tough was that team? How good was McNamara? How good was Hakeem Warwick, Jim Boeheim, hell of a coach? Can you talk a little bit about that matchup and what you remember from playing against that team?
What I remember, great team, right? Melo, Hall of Famer. Joe Boeheim, great coach. McNamara, knock it down. We beat ourselves, but they were a great team. They were a great team. I didn't produce much. We had a low scoring game with other guys. Melvin did a good job with Melo as best as he could.
Okay.
Melo's just a scorer, man. This is just what he does. Tony Allen did well. I just don't think we got a lot of contribution from a lot of guys, including South.
Okay.
And it was nothing but we wanted it. We efforted it. We put effort in. We tried, and they just came out to be the better team, man. Honestly,
Yeah, for sure.
really what it was. When you sit in a 2-3 all day, you can rest a little bit.
That motherfucker did that all the way to the day they let him go. He did not leave that alone. I'm going to use this 2-3 zone. This 3-2
Imagine
zone.
what Melo got to do. This and then go down there
and get busy.
Smart.
So let me ask you this though. Shane. Did you know that you was losing to the eventual champions?
Yeah, probably so.
Okay.
Probably so.
Okay.
Yeah, probably so. But in the locker room, we felt like we beat ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, we felt like we beat ourselves. I think we had a good roster, man. We had a good roster.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So Tom concludes at Oklahoma State. Now, I think it's important to shine a light on this because people don't talk about this much, but you graduated from Oklahoma State. You are a college graduate, right?
Correct.
So you didn't leave there and not, leave without handling your business, right?
Correct.
Your first opportunity to play professional basketball comes where?
England, BBL with Nick Nurse.
England, BBL league with NBA championship head coach Nick Nurse.
It's Googleable. Brighton Bears.
Talk to me about the culture shock. You
wasn't culture shock.
Oh, so talk to me about the experience. You was ready? You wasn't ready? What was
ready.
It like?
I went in going crazy. One of the guys, salute to Huntley from Texas, he got injured. Okay. So you know how that goes overseas. They call your agent. Oh, one of my guys is down. Call me up. Brian Elfis at the time. I go. England basketball is very different. Very different. We come up in New York where it's like, yo, move over. Let me get busy.
Let me get to it.
Let me get to it. And in college and overseas, it's very team orchestrated. But in England, you got 5 players lower than 6'6". So your point guard was me, 6'3", and everybody else 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and that's the league. So there's no real throwing it to the block. Everybody's just playing a guard position, basically. Okay. To answer your question, I went over there and scorched. You could, like I said, everything I talk about is Googleable. So I went to Brighton Bears, Ryan Huntley I replaced, came over and did what I had to do, and Nick Nurse was my coach. Didn't know he was going to be as impactful he was in the league, and that's what happened. So I came pretty late in the league. They tried to get me to help them win playoffs. I did my job. It was just hard to get a cohesive unit at that time so fast because I came so late. But who was on that team was Lou Alding's brother. That's crazy.
Okay.
I forgot his first name. Yeah.
Okay. I talk to a lot of guys about their journeys through the game, right? And especially a lot of guys that were fortunate enough to have pretty lengthy careers overseas. You're one of those guys now, with almost playing 20 years overseas, 20 years professionally. 18 years is a really long time. We talk about the evolution of the game now, and we talk about the evolution of guys' games, right? When you coming from OK State to you going to the pro level to you getting tryouts and G League teams and spending some time in the NBA, all that kind of stuff. What's the maturation of your game, Shane? What did you have to work on? What did you have to become better at when you became a pro?
So, can I go back a little bit?
Absolutely.
Westchester Community College. So, went to JUCO and Kilgore with Scott Schumacher. I'm sure guys from New York know Bernard Barrows and Trevor Diggs. Those were the 2 schools
Trevor
they
Diggs.
went to.
We know Coach Diggs. Yeah, for sure.
So I went there about 2 years later.
Okay.
And Scott Schumacher recruited me from Jersey. I was in New York, but I went to a camp in Jersey. But he was on my body. He was like, "Yo, we gotta hire you. You got a big 6'4", you know, wild big, bro."
Right.
Pause. And I didn't have a design position. I wouldn't have a specific. I was just talented. So what he seen was a whole bunch of talent. I was dunking, I was rebounding, I was pushing, I was passing. I wasn't a point guard at that time, but he seen talent. So he recruited me. I go to Kilgore. I leave Kilgore for 2 reasons. I got into a car accident when I came home in New York City that the doctor said I probably wouldn't heal from my back. I went back to Kilgore and I got into a big scuffle with the football team, myself and some other basketball players.
Shane, those niggas is big. Shane, those niggas are big.
Very
Those
big.
are big
Pause.
niggas.
Very big pause. And the crazy thing about it, let's bring some music into it.
Yeah.
We got. So I'm down here with Dean Thomas from Manhattan. Everybody, whatever. We here.
Okay.
So New York, Texas, right? Screw music. I know nothing about screw music.
Oh, the chop and screw shit. Yeah, I had to learn that shit down here. Yeah.
I love it now.
I
love it. I loved it then. I love it now. Where
Yeah.
we come from, if somebody's screwing you, what that mean?
Trying to violate you. Yeah.
He looking at you crazy.
Right.
So I'm like, yo, son. Anyway, it got that crazy, right? So yeah, it got wild, and I'm coming from the back injury now. So I'm supposed to be rehealing and rehabbing and going to school. And this occurs. Right? So they're like, all right, we're gonna have to remove you to the football campus. I'm like, I'm not going to the football campus. So they're like, all right, cool. So over time we figured it out. I said, I'll just go back to New York. Went back to New York, started recovering and rehabbing from my back. Winston Nicholas came in from Queens.
Shout out to Winston. His son is my man, Miles Nichols. His son is my
That's
my
what I
brother.
was about to ask you. That's what I asked you.
Oh, nah.
Tell Miles what up. Tell Miles what up when you.
That's my brother. Yeah.
Tell Miles what up. So, yeah, Winston Nichols.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Coach Nichols. Yeah.
Man, he was a blessing, dude.
He was one of the most. I sorry to cut you off. He is one of the best people I've ever met in my life. One of the best people.
Dude.
Right? Like an amazing dude. It's your time. Go ahead, bro. He was an amazing dude, man.
Nah, keep carrying, bro, because I was gonna carry more, but he did everything, bro. So I leave Kilgore. He comes sits in my crib, and I'm in Cambridge at the time, 2:30 at 115.
Okay.
He sits at my crib with my moms, my pops sometimes.
Where'd you say?
213, 115. 230 and 115.
Okay. I was 225.
Yeah, we can leave.
I was on 225 and 116.
Say that.
Come on, we walking distance. Right. We walking distance.
So he come to the crib a lot. He like, shit, I've been trying to recruit you before, Scott. Me and Scott is friends. I was like, I understand. I'm sorry, man. I just try to get as far away from New York, man. You know how New York, all that, right?
Right.
Sits me down and says, hey, look at your transcript. Your back is getting better. Do you want to go through summer school? We could figure out a way to go through summer school, get you some courses. You got to do the work. You got to show up and you got to do the work. And then we can enroll you in the fall semester. I said, Coach Nicholas, I want it. Let's do it. He helped me out tremendously. We was able to accomplish the summer courses. I was able to enroll into the fall. I enroll into the fall, school begins, right? And so from school beginning, it leads me to now, from my backtrack, where I backtracked that, I get up to your question, which was what?
What'd you work on in your game? How did you have to become a better player?
Nick was somebody that said, Shane, you've been playing the interior from the free throw line down. Because again, right? Sitting up, not making point guard decisions, not playing, but he seen the bop. I had bop. I always had bop.
Okay.
He's like, yo, your size, 6'3", if you just learn the reads at the point guard position,
it's over.
Took over.
It's over.
Come in the gym tomorrow. Let's start working on some stuff. I think I'm gonna always think Coach Nicholas. He wasn't the most skilled trainer, but he was the one that said, get in the gym.
Yes.
Get in the gym.
Yes.
And that's where it began. And so to answer your question, I started working on different facets of my game because I was always a good passer. I was always IQ. It was just natural, instinctual from pops, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a specific position.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
when I started playing at Westchester, I got into that that point guard position, and I started getting a lot of reps at it. And I just started growing and growing and getting better. But for me, I was living in the locker room, so the gym is upstairs.
Mm.
I'm going to the gym after
Mm.
school. Guys, I don't know what y'all on. I'm going to the
I'm in the
gym.
gym. Okay.
I'm in the gym. It's upstairs.
Okay.
Going to the gym. I'm
Yeah.
going back downstairs to sleep, and I'm doing this again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the continuous regimen was for me. And that's how I was able to improve fast. And Nick and Ty Mushat, they helped me a lot. Leon Payne too, man. These guys really helped me at Westchester. Westchester was not built on basketball.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. But there has a lot of great players come through there.
Before myself, which was
Yeah.
two, I can't remember their names, but there was two that was really pronoun names in our community of New York, you know?
Yeah, it's you said I haven't said Winston Nicholas's name in a long time. So for
That's
you to show,
crazy, man. That's
yeah, for
like I
you,
said, tell his son, man, hello.
oh,
Man.
1000%. Miles is my brother, so yeah, I would definitely shoot him that message for sure.
Yeah.
Being from where we from, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said you was outside early, right? You was outside early and getting exposed to a lot of different things, right? Which builds a level of fortitude that everybody doesn't have, right? You know, the reason that we are the way we are from New York is because the things that we go through, right? It just is what it is.
Yeah.
An 18-year career, we could probably spend 3-4 hours just talking about every facet of that. But what I want to hone in on is the struggles as a professional overseas. I've talked to a lot of guys. We talk about living conditions, language barrier, food. We talk about not being paid on time. There's so many things that I've heard about in the experience of playing overseas basketball on a professional level. What I want to get down with you is, what was the most difficult time in an 18-year career where you had to go get some of that queen shit up out of you and face whatever was in front of you?
Damn, bro. Man, you be dropping them, Slum.
I appreciate you, bro.
No,
Thank you.
respect, man, respect. The Queens thing never came out of me as to why I didn't stick in the league. If we gonna get to the truth,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say the Queens thing. The New York mentality didn't kick until after Milan. I am, and it's sad to say, but I'm gonna be truthful so the youngins can understand, they can adapt quicker upon learning what it is to be able to get out of your way.
Mm-hmm.
And learning to be able to understand New York is a great place, but it can also um, put some things in your ingredients you just don't need.
Okay.
And so for me, just being from that and being around environment, I hung around a lot of music stuff, man, early. So I was around the Murder Inks early. I wasn't playing ball. I was around that. I was around stuff outside of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was carrying a lot creativity with me in these countries.
Yeah.
But the most adverse situation, and I'll talk about it broadly. You want to
Yeah, for
speak
sure.
about it broadly, or you want me to speak about it personally?
Well, personally, really, because everybody
Personally,
has a different unique situation. So I was hoping, for you to dive in on and what has happened to you specifically.
let me speak about the Milan situation, my first big gig overseas with the
Mm-hmm.
big time players I was around.
Okay.
Um, you know, I'm gonna take full accountability and just say that if I would have pushed myself more in the beginning of understanding their buy-in system, I would have done well.
Okay.
And I've said this on many podcasts. I had no guidance of the business.
Mm-hmm.
The basketball was just taking me. But you gotta have, and this is the point for the youngins, you gotta have a guidance and you gotta have a mentor along the way in the craft you're in.
Right.
Because you'll just be going with no idea of what you're doing. Right? You're just going and you won't understand staff, general manager, manager, and their roles. You just think they like you because they signed you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't come from the world of guys that understand the business, and I respect those guys. I didn't know
Okay.
that. Everything I got was off talent. I'll tell you when I started learning the business. So Milan for me was a little bit adverse because when they wanted me to run in the hills and do all this crazy running through trees and running through hills, I'm like, yo, I just came off a knee injury. Can I do the track? I'm a
Right.
rookie. I'm a
Okay.
rookie. So they probably like, what?
Mm.
But they rocked with me. But then when I got to the track, I was like, yo, this is a lot, man. You guys is running us into the ground. We need our knees for the games. And this
Yeah.
was totally my accountability. This was immaturity at its best at that time. Not understanding I'm in the freaking greatest city in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Making a boatload of money
A shit ton of money. Right.
as a rookie,
Right.
but I'm hanging out. And that's when the Queens thing stays with you because it's like there's parts
Okay.
of you that just don't leave. So I'm hanging out in Hollywood with the older guys, Travis Watson and Ansel Cisse. But I haven't really made my mark yet. So what am I doing?
You ain't did nothing yet.
What am I
Right.
doing?
Right.
What am I doing? Why
Right.
am I out? But
Right.
that's when you ask me, did it still stay with you? It stayed with me. It
Okay.
because I enjoy music just as much as I enjoy basketball.
Okay.
So as much as I wanted to find a new outlet after
Right.
practice, that's
Yeah.
where I would go.
Okay.
Okay. So Milan was adverse, but I would say Latvia, Vef Riga was the most adverse. And so when you're speaking to these guys overseas, you'll hear about they don't get paid on time. Their apartments probably not what they like it to be. Their Wi-Fi might get shut. They
Mm-hmm.
told them they'll get a car, they didn't get a car. The practices, you're gonna hear it all.
You hitting everything, Cheyne. You
You're gonna
hitting
hear.
everything.
I've been through it all. You're
Mm.
gonna hear it all. So what happened to me in Latvia? I'm leaving Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I'm calling out names right now. Jimmy Drummond is a fraud. So Jimmy Drummond, who worked with a company, got me to Vef Riga, right? And then I'm doing my thing on the court, but he works with a team and I'm not understanding. At the
Mm.
time, he worked with
Okay.
Enterprise Sports. Enterprise Sports owned the team.
The business of basketball. Okay.
So am I staying on topic? I'm still learning the business. Who's guiding me?
Right.
Who's guiding me?
Nobody.
I'm learning on the fly,
Fly.
but
Got
I'm
you.
very witty. You could get over once, not twice. So
Mm.
I'm watching it, all right? So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm doing my stuff. One day they come to me like, yo, I made 90,000. This is after I left the Warriors camp, so I had a couple of dollars. And they like, yo, we thinking about going a different direction. I was like, cool, no problem. Because Latvia is a little bit like Russia. There's not a lot of us. So it's a
Okay.
little uncomfortable.
Okay.
They don't make it super comfortable. It's a little
Okay.
uncomfortable, but we here for a reason to get the job done. However, they say they want to go in a different direction. We go into the settlement table. I say, okay, I'll sign off on this, boom, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop. So again, I got right put in a sticky situation by the agency.
For sure.
They take the car, they take the house.
Mm.
I'm in Latvia still. But a guy like me, myself, I always liked it to see cities.
Okay.
So I wasn't a guy going to the gym, going home. No, I'm moving. I'm connecting. So
Okay.
while all of that's happening, where they are going on their releasing, I have connected with people that are willing to take care of me and hold me down while out there while still trying to fight for my money.
Okay.
They think I left. So nonetheless, I came to a compensation and a settlement where I got my bread because they seen I was still in the country. But on top of that, man, things that go on in these type of countries, man, you got to be very careful outside of the business conductions that go on with teams. You got to
Mm-hmm.
understand the geographics of where you at. So I was in Latvia and I was rolling with a female and we was just kicking it. And I didn't understand the the signs they have because it's a different language.
Okay.
So I go down a one way, and then the cops pull us over, and I'm this color, bro.
Of course.
You know, we're rap. So and she's in the car, but she speaks that language, but she also
Okay.
speaks a little English. And so we ride, and he pulls us over. He's like, yo, blah, blah, all that language. So she's like, yo, he's asking you for your license, and he's thinking about arresting you because you came down a one way. And I was like, for a one way. And nonetheless, this is this type of stuff that happens in these countries when you're not aware, or you don't have management around you, or you don't have a support system around you. So I encourage guys that do go overseas, at least have an assistant personal manager or someone of support. Because you will, if you're not educated enough upon the team's policies, structures, contracts, they'll find a way. Right. So how that ended, she was able to communicate with them. The crazy part and the funny part, I had to pay $1,000, 500 lats. But these guys is crazy overseas. But yeah, man, there's a lot of overseas stories that have occurred, man. It's just weird. It just goes down over there. It's different, man.
I appreciate you sharing that with us. For
you
real.
have to be on your P's and Q's, any American, because you are the person to take the club to another level. And if you're not doing that day in and day out, that day out that you didn't do it, they're gonna start to make So
for sure.
I'm sure a lot of guys have different stories. I have a ton, but that's just one. Yeah.
That I've heard horror stories. I've heard great stories, right? Like so many different experiences.
So many.
Oh, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Cheyne. I've talked to a couple guys that have had the privilege of playing in the association, right? And I got another brother sitting here with me who's had that opportunity as well. Most guys haven't been honest with me, or at least I don't feel like they've been honest with me. And so throughout this hour that we've been sitting down, there's just been nothing but authenticity and honesty from you, man. I really appreciate it. Let's continue that. How bright are those lights when you get on that NBA court? How bright are those lights? Is there any intimidation as a basketball player? Because at the end of the day, it's just basketball, but that is the level that everybody dreams or aspires to play on. Talk to me about your emotions and just what that experience was like playing for the Golden State Warriors, for the Dallas Mavericks, just in the NBA period.
Bet. Love it. I'm glad you asked that question. So Dallas Mavericks, for me, I was living in a motel in New York. I was at Wits End. I called Darvin Ham. He's one of my closest friends. I said, D Ham, at least allow me to come to Dallas and just work out. I don't need no favors. Just see what I'm on. All right, son, come through. So I drive to Memphis. I take a stop in Memphis. I'm driving myself, then I get to finally Dallas. In Dallas, I'm working out every day with these guys. JJ Barea, Jason Terry, Jason Kidd, Jerry Stackhouse. Jerry Stackhouse got right with Devin George in that practice. So I got to see a lot. He got right with him. So these are the guys that's around.
Stack got right with a lot of niggas. Stack
get right.
I got a brother, my OG Fish is in the building right now. Fish is kind of from that area. I don't know if he's exactly from that area. But them dudes that come from Kingston, North Carolina, them niggas don't play.
I don't even know about Kingston, but that's where you from?
Kingston, Stackhouse, Cedric Maxwell. I'm missing a few names right now, but Brandon Ingram, all them niggas, they be with the shit. They be with the smoke. So yeah, Stack.
Yeah, so I seen all that. So I'm with them, man. And I'm, bro, when you ain't got nothing left, you're gonna give you everything. You dig? So I'm out there at 5 a.m. working out, nobody in the gym. 7 a.m. working out, nobody in the gym. 9 a.m. working out, nobody in the gym. When it comes to the workouts that they getting prepared for vet camp, I'm in those workouts.
Okay.
I'm gonna speed it up. So I'm on the bike one morning because I understand now the process, right? Again, I went through so much failure. There's things they look for. Right? There's things they are looking for, not just on the court. So I'm on the bike at 5 a.m. And if you know Dallas practice facility, there's stairs to come down. And the bikes are right there. So as I'm on the bike, Rick Carlisle's coming down. I'm drenched. Nobody else is in the gym. He like, hey, you know how Rick Carlisle told. He's like, hey, what's going on, man? I said, hey, coach. You know, Darvin allowed me to get in here and get some extra work in. He's like, oh, nice. Oh, meet me here tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Get some shots up. I said, huh? Like in my head, bro, I'm just here for Darvin saying, go come work out. Bro, I go back to the hotel. I sleep immediately. I wake up that morning. Me and Rick Carlisle was the only ones in the gym shooting 3 balls. Because that's where I was a little bit lacking. Right?
Okay.
My strength wasn't the long ball 3.
Okay.
He's helping me work on that. A few days go by, we back in the workouts. Vet camp comes. Cheyne's name is on the list. But I'm going to give all praise to Darvin Ham for allowing me to be in that. And I'm going to give praise to me to recepting what he did and then responding to it.
Okay.
And doing it the right way. And then thank you for Rick Carlisle. And there's a backstory of Rick Carlisle. When I was in Westchester Community College, Rick Carlisle worked me out early because I wasn't doing so well with a lot of environmental things going on, and I wasn't succeeding so well on the academics. So
Yeah.
Brad Seisler, who was a friend of him, called him in and said, hey, I think I got a pro in here. This is all fact. And he worked me out before he got to Detroit. He's like, yeah, he's a pro. So what happened was by that time later catches up.
Does he remember you? Does he put that together when when you coming down the stairs and he's coming in, you drenched? Does he remember your face?
He calls me Gad.
Oh, that's
he
love.
said, Gad.
That's love.
Gad.
Okay.
That's how it occurred. So then, yeah, it was just a 360 situation, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how that occurred.
That's dope. That's dope.
The Golden State thing. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you rock.
No, because that's where I was going, right? The Golden State thing, we see what the Golden State Warriors have become, right? A dynastic team, last 10 years in the NBA, 4 championships, probably, you know, one of the best players ever to play the game, Steph Curry, obviously a lot of other guys on that team, Kevin Durant. You know, we know what they are. We know what they are without having to go in through all of that. But you're there before that. You're there before all of that. What is that organization like when you get there, and could you foresee what they've actually become?
I didn't have an agent in Dallas. I didn't have an agent in Golden State. I worked out with Rodney Hurd from Atlanta. Rodney Hurd was a big-time scout in the league. Mm-hmm. I'm at these workouts, and I'm just going in. Going in. He's like, yo, what you going to do this summer? You going to go overseas? I say, Rodney, I'm over that overseas stuff. I know where I belong. He said, let me make a call. He made a call to them. I go out there, first day, workout. Oh, stay another day. I go out there, I'm living in a hotel attached to the gym. So these guys that are on the team or possibly trying to make the team, I'm attached to the hotel to the gym, so you know when I go back to the gym. Mm-hmm. And I just continue to work. The 4th day, Steph Curry picks me up in the Hummer at the hotel. I don't get what's going on, but I get what's going on. Right? Takes me to the practice. All right, cool. We practicing. We getting right. I am doing my thing. I'm not on nobody's contract. I am on an invite from Rodney Hurd to his friend, the general manager. I could have been going the first day. Right. I'm on the 4th day. I'm cooking. So check this out. Steph Curry's on the same team. Monte Ellis is on the same team. It's just Shane Gadson alone. We from the borough, bro. We aggressive. We competitive.
You know it.
I'm going at everybody that's in front of me. Doesn't matter. I'm really going at it. Somebody says, I want to guard him. I'm a rookie. I should have kept my mouth shut. He's an established player. Come get it. Come guard me.
Because you know where we from.
His name is Monty. His name is Monte Ellis.
Okay.
Come guard me.
Okay.
I should have shut my mouth. I'm a rookie. I'm trying to make a team. I don't have the guidance. Right? I'm walking into a camp. Nobody's saying, this is how you go about it. This is how you make a team. I'm still coming from the neighborhood because
34 Park, Lincoln Park.
I went through Milan. Didn't really understand. Now I'm moving on to overseas teams. It's not the same as the league where they'll kind of put some coaches on you to kind of drop some jewels on you. Overseas, you're on your own.
Yeah.
But I was let me get to it.
Yeah.
So, however, that occurred. I forget the coach's name. He came in the locker room and said, "Man, you did a damn good job. I wish you'd shut your mouth."
Okay.
I think his name was Calvin. He was a former player. Calvin. He was bald head. He had worked with the Golden State Warriors. Pardon me if I forget his last name, but yeah, I think his first name was Calvin. Bald head. Said, "Man, you a heck
Dark
of a
skin?
talent." Dawson.
Keep smart. Keep
No,
smart.
that was the head coach.
Oh, that was the head coach. Okay. Okay.
That was the head coach.
Okay.
That
Okay.
was the head coach.
Okay.
So that kind of didn't allow me to stick. Golden State, I was gonna stick,
Okay.
and we would have had a lot of runs.
Yeah.
Mavericks. Mark Cuban said I was a 9-year younger Jason Kidd. It could have been. It could have been
What?
something. It could have
Come
been
on.
something. No. Let's
You
keep
can't
it
get no
funky.
better. No, you can't get a better compliment than that, though, right? Like,
But let's keep it funky. That's also a pacifier. If I'm a 9-year younger Jason Kidd, bring it on. Tutor it.
mm,
But I appreciate the compliment.
yeah. Come on
But
now.
I
Come
want
on
the
now.
job. I want the job.
Yeah. Big shout out to
So
Mel. Big shout out to Mel. Mel is here. Love Mel. Appreciate
Queens Mel.
y'all. Come on, Mel. That's family right there. So big shout out to Mel,
Absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
He's
Absolutely.
actually a couple years ago when we connected, he was actually one of the guys that was like, "Yo, bro, you need to connect with Cheyne, man." Like that. And so that's how that kind of started. So yeah, big shout out to Mel.
Much respect to Mel. I
Yeah.
ain't get a chance to really get this link out. So, but we'll gather. They
That's all
gonna hear
good.
it.
That's so
Yeah,
it's
they
not
gonna
the
hear it.
this ain't the last time you're gonna be with us though, Shane.
They gonna hear it. They gonna
You
hear it. We
know
got
that.
so much more, beloved.
Come on, you're gonna spin. Before I get into the rapid fire, for this conversation, man. Once again, I appreciate y'all so much. Shane Gadson is in the building, y'all. 18-year pro, former NBA player. The brother has done so much for the game, and right now, I kind of want you to touch on currently. You are a skills and development guy. You are a trainer now. You have your own business, efficient footwork development. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so efficient footwork development. I just love the name, period. Right. Because I'm a big guy on footwork. I love Kobe Bryant. I love Elijah Wan. The guys that had that great Kyrie Irving, the guys that have that great footwork.
Yeah.
Talk to me about training, man. Where does the passion come to give back to the youth and to the guys that are coming behind you? And, how are you enjoying this part of the basketball journey?
Training is from 9 years old, bro. We was 10 years old. Like, training became a niche and a market for guys to monetize their experience. But
Okay.
for me, training started early. But I will say this. I will say Jerry Powell had he had a big impact.
Homework,
on
y'all. Do your homework. Jerry Powell. Do your
Jerry
homework.
Powell. Jerry Powell had a big impact from a standpoint of being committed and dedicated to help me get to a tryout. So Steve Cronin, who used to work for Baseline Sports and on Wall Street, and Corey Underwood connected me at that time.
Okay.
And he took a liking to me. He took a liking to me. He took a liking to my potential. Um, you know, I ain't had much. Coming up where I was at that time, leaving college, I ain't have much leaving college.
Okay.
And so he was able to say, "Hey, man, I'll do as much as I can for you, and whatever resources I have, I'll provide those to you."
Okay.
And so he said, "Let's do this. We have a tryout with the NBDL at the time in Huntsville Flight.
Mhm.
Let's get you with Jerry Powell 2 times a day, and let's put you in this motel in Suffolk County." I did that for like 4 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, Jerry Powell put me in the best shape. Jerry Powell could allude to this. I was skilled already, and I'm not bragging. I was skilled, but he put me in the best shape.
Okay.
The best shape. It gave me a good mentality to approach the tryout with. And so I go down to a D League trial in Huntsville Flight when the league is just getting started with Mateen Cleaves, All-American.
Yes, sir. National
All-American.
champion. Yeah.
Big brother. He's my big brother.
Yes.
National championship. Played, got drafted. Eric
Yes,
Barkley.
sir.
Eric Barkley, McDonald's All-American. Our
Bark.
own New York's own.
One of the best point guards to come out of New York City. St. John's. Before St. John's was in the Final Four. Last time St. John's even had a run in the national NCAA tournament, Bark was the point guard for that team. So,
and these two guys was not only were we competing against each other because they already had their spots, their names.
Right.
I'm a no one coming in.
Okay.
But they were respectful to me because I was a dog. I was a super dog. And when you speak to them, they're gonna say something similar.
Okay.
I have an article that says, "Yo, this guy came in chiseled." My man, I was looking like yeah. So Ralph Lewis, the head coach at that time, they only wanted to keep 2 players in total, 10.
Okay.
Because the roster, they wanted to just kind of like experiment with the G League at that time. So Mateen Cleaves and Eric Barkley was in trouble. They was in trouble.
I love it. I love it.
Nah, they was in trouble. Like
Yeah.
they was doing their stuff because they pros.
Right.
But I'm a youngin. I'm not on y'all level. I'm not all American. Yeah, I'm dogging. I'm coming down. I'm pulling up, putting you on my shoulder. I'm strong. He had to keep me. Ralph Lewis had to keep me, and they only wanted to keep 2 positions at every position. So I was the 3rd point guard. So they kept 11.
Okay.
That's how my career began pro-wise on the NBA level. If we backtrack, and I'm not gonna get into it, it's CBA, it's ABA, it's mad minor leagues. I did before all of that.
People don't remember.
They don't even remember that.
They don't remember the CBA. CBA is what
I won a chip and got All-American in the CBA with Antoine Barber.
Come Shane. At one point, the CBA is what the G League, D League, that's what it was. People was coming
Tell
from
them the history, please.
Yo, that's what it was. You was coming
That's what
from the
led
CBA.
to the G League.
Yes. That's a fact. That is fact.
I was in Yakima Sun Kings with Paul Woodward.
And they had names like that. Yakima Sun. Come on, like they had shit like that. Like they had shit like that. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, so that was it, man. That was the pro starts, man. That's where the
dope.
pro starts. That's where I got my chances at. And I just kept climbing. And once I got into the D League, then it started changing to the G League, whatever. Bro, the only thing that didn't allow me to I was very close to 2 call-ups. Denver and Chicago.
Okay.
Chicago messed up with the Devendorf thing I told you about. Okay. Denver, I had an injury. But I was gonna be out of that league quick. But yeah, man, that's how the pro stuff started.
I love that. I love that. We gonna get into some rapid fire real quick before we wrap. Shane, let me tell you something, man. I learned a lot tonight. I learned a lot. I hope everybody that tapped in learned a lot. I hope you felt comfortable, and we appreciate you for contributing to what we're doing over here at AllBall TV and for All We Live. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
Word.
We appreciate you for real. You back at 34 Park. Saturday, Sunday, whatever. You on the court. It's you and 4 other guys. Y'all not coming off the court for the rest of the day. Who you running with? Who's your 5? Don't matter. I don't
At
care.
34th, at 34th at that time?
I don't care. At any point in your career, you back at your home park and you ain't coming off the court. Who is Shane running with?
These guys are gonna say Shane was shooting on the other side. He wasn't playing with nobody. But none of this is real talk. That's what they're gonna say.
I feel you.
They're gonna be like, yo, he was down there shooting. He wasn't.
Yeah.
But midnight was the truth.
Okay.
Midnight was the truth. D was tough.
Okay.
Ace had mad energy. He wasn't skilled and stuff.
Midnight, Ace and D, y'all. Midnight
was tough.
D.
Wait, hold on. God bless Justice Howe. Midnight and Justice Howe had the craziest hezzies. They gonna talk about it. They gotta talk about it.
Okay.
They had the craziest hezzies.
Justice was
If I'm
tough.
lying,
Justice was tough. Like he was a dog.
Justice was tough. I'm just saying from the hezzy, from
Right.
the originators of it,
Yeah.
from who I seen,
Yeah.
was Midnight and Just. And Midnight was tough, bro. Midnight was just a little undersized. Boy had bop, and D was tough. And then my man Terry from Edison. Terry used to come up there. His brother was tough. His brother used to hoop all the time.
I like that.
34. Yeah, man.
I like that. I like that. Same park. Same park. Throw a little round table in the middle of the park. After talking to you tonight, you have an amazing basketball mind. I can't wait to get off here and talk offline with you about hoops, right? You know what I'm saying? Because your basketball mind is kind of blowing me away right now. Pause. But 2 or 3 guys that you enjoy talking hoops with. If you got a round table in the middle of the court, and it's you and a couple other guys just talking hoops, who are the guys that you enjoy?
Yo, Flea got the illest questions, bro.
I appreciate you, big dog.
Basketball talk?
Yeah, basketball talk. You just talking basketball.
That I know or I would wish to talk to.
You know, wish to talk to. How
I'm gonna speak about who I know.
Okay.
I hang around Steve Smith a lot.
Smitty.
I hang around a lot. So I like to hear his insight because he's in it.
Love it. Only nigga in the NBA that got a move named after his name, the Smitty, right? The Smitty. But go ahead.
Me and Tutta talk basketball, bro. Uncle Tut's very, 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 very passionate about the sport, and he loves the sport. We talk a lot of ball. Stephen Graham from Denver Nuggets.
Gotcha.
Those
Gotcha.
three.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So much insight tonight, man. So much insight on who you are as a hooper, and who you've touched and been connected to throughout your 18-year pro career and just your entire career. Yeah. We'd like to throw this word around, dogs. Everybody think they a dog. Dog. I'm a dog. I'm a dog. I'm a dog.
Yeah.
You a dog. Give me your all dogs list. Give me 3 or 4 guys that you like, yo, these dogs in the league today.
In the league today?
In the league today. Dog. With your eyes, you like, that nigga's a dog. He sat back, y'all. He sat back, took a deep breath. You got to think about this one for a second.
Dog, bro?
Dogs. Give me 2 or 3, if you can. Cheyne don't got one for me.
Nah, the wheels is rolling.
I got you. I should
have had one right now. Well, who was you?
My list ain't long.
But who would you go with initially?
My first name, the guy that you talked about being a part of his journey, Anthony Edwards. First guy off my list, dog.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Outside of that. Draymond?
Yeah, he got the dog mentality, right? But you, for some reason, we always try to attach dog with guys that are talented, right? And he's talented, but I'm talking about just merely on the offensive end, right? We try to attach it to.
Is John Moran a dog?
Ooh.
Is he?
I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's for debate.
I don't know.
It's a good conversation starter.
That's a good conversation. I'm glad you didn't answer my question, but actually created this little comment. I'm glad you did that and not just name niggas. I'm glad you did that. Yeah. I respect that. I respect that. Thank you, Cheyne. Listen,
let me tell you a quick story about Anthony.
About Ant Edwards.
So he used to work out with us a lot.
Okay.
He played at Holy Spirit. I've been in Atlanta for a little bit. After I left China in the COVID, I came here and shackled up, and I got busy with my business. Okay. Anthony Edwards used to come down to a facility, a gym. We used to all work out, old heads, young heads, this, that, and the third. And the most pronoun name that used to come is Oakley, Jordan, and Smitty.
Okay.
But Smitty would have a little bit more influx on the influence of what's going on.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards, I knew it was, I'm speaking super facts. So Anthony Edwards, when he would show up to the gym, I want to guard Cheyne. This is when I was about 34, 35. I was still moving.
You still getting to it. You still
I
getting
was
to
still
it.
getting,
Yeah.
I'm not as fast. I'm
Mhm.
not climbing on you, pause, but I'm still, the day I knew it was over, for not for me in the basketball sense, but it was over, meaning he's about to be what I always thought he would be.
Right.
He came down. All right, so here's the full court. He came down the right side. He had a pick and roll run into him.
Mhm.
He rejected the mother fluffer,
Mhm.
went baseline. Hashalabasha, boom,
In the rim. In the
he
rim.
took off outside of the lane line. I said, Lord DD. So at that point in time, you know, I'm a visionary, man. I see things. I don't have to wait till the product is finished to see
Right.
stuff. That's
Yeah.
just, I've always been good with stories. So I was like, okay, he's next. And he's one of those that's gonna be a better penny.
Okay.
I've been
Ooh.
telling guys around me for a long time. I just said wait till he get guys around him that know how to see the game a little bit of play ahead.
I didn't attach Penny with Anthony Edwards only
I'm sorry,
because
Tracy McGrady. I'm
oh
sorry,
T-Mac.
Tracy McGrady. Tracy
Okay.
McGrady. Sorry,
Okay.
Tracy McGrady.
Because
Sorry.
the wheels start turning because I'm like, if Penny,
I used to say T-Mac. My bad.
yeah, but I like both comparisons to be honest. Obviously, Penny
More
is more
T-Mac.
naturally,
More T-Mac.
yeah.
More
But
T-Mac.
I like that. I like that. I like that. That's a hell of a story. Last one for you. Last one for you, Cheyne. And again, thank you so much, my brother, for your time today. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
You know, here on this platform. But last one for you, man. And you know, I need, you know, let's get honest. Let's get honest, man. We've been honest all night. Let's get honest, man.
Let's get honest. Let me get closer then.
Yeah, let's get honest real fast. This is last one for you before I get you out of here, man. You got a mirror in front of you, Shane Gadson. You got a mirror in front of you. And on the other side of that mirror is 18-year-old Shane Gadson.
Uh-huh.
From what you know now, 18-year pro, have traveled the world, have been through so many different experiences, life experience, basketball experiences, just experiences in general.
Right.
If you're talking to 18-year-old Shane Gadson right now, what are you telling him? What kind of advice are you providing him to help him navigate the world? Because shit is wild. You've had a hell of a life.
That's a beautiful question.
But what are you going to tell 18-year-old Shane Gadson to help him get to where you are today?
18-year-old Shane. Where was I? 18. I was in high school, prep. I'm gonna just say this on a broad level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this for guys that are on the radar, not on the radar, guys that have aspirations to make it to a high level high school team, a high level college team, a pro team, or go abroad. There's a few things that I've learned in my course. I can't speak to what you just asked me, and I'm sorry. I'm just gonna give information that'll help guys.
Please.
There's gonna be a few things. One is take it serious. Two is take advantage of your time. Understand time runs quick. If the goal is to really be a high level player,
Mm-hmm.
try to minimize outlets that don't align with what you're trying to do.
Okay.
It's hard, but try your best. And I'm a authentic person, so try to get like a percentage scale where you're doing like 70-30, where 70 is the work where you're trying to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
right? And 30 is your balance time.
Okay.
There can't be a 50-50. I know we speak about having balance in life, but that happens when things have settled. But when guys is on their course, You figure out that scale. I was just giving you a medium. I'm speaking to the audience. So whether
That's heavy.
that's
That what you're saying right now, that's heavy. Yeah.
whether that's 90-10, basketball, family life, whatever else that comes with that. And understand that you can't keep everyone happy because your time is your time to obtain what you're trying to achieve. And just I'm sorry to say this harsh, you almost gotta say fluff people's feelings along the way. And in a loving way. And
Okay.
hope that they accept that, because if they accept that, they love you.
Okay.
If they don't accept that, then bro, you might have to start understanding that everybody on this road is not on the road.
Okay.
And so just really tune into your craft.
Okay.
Focus on your craft. Whatever craft. I'm speaking basketball.
Mhm.
Basketball takes a lot. Basketball has to do with training, has to do with not only training in your team, training on your own. Basketball has to do with a mindset. So it has to do with a routine, right? So I'm gonna give you examples of what I learned and incorporated later from Dallas Mavericks. They gave me yoga later. Wasn't in tune to yoga. We coming up where we come from, we kind of think that's a little different, right?
Yeah. Right. Right.
Absolutely.
I got
Absolutely.
you. You know,
Yeah,
you know how we work. Yeah.
yeah. And then over time, I was like, nah, this is beneficial. This is actually expanding muscles, allowing me to be more flexible, mobile, and it's giving me longevity. So if guys start to think more about the recovery, the strength, the endurance, the anaerobic, the performance, the basketball is going to do its own if you're skilled. If you're not skilled,
Okay.
add the skill in there, but also keep those other attributes in there. And then you'll see results. So I can't speak for when I was 18, because I didn't know when I was 18. I didn't have nobody telling me this. But now at 44 years old, gonna be an NBA coach or overseas coach, which either one works out soon. I'm giving you knowledge upon my experiences. Listen, I come from a neighborhood. I didn't come up with AAU.
Mhm.
All respect to the Deion Jones, Andre Barretts, Omar Cooks, Tylee Browns, Charles Jones, Ron Artest,
Ooh.
um, Lamar Odom, everybody that's done that course, I salute you guys. I didn't go that course. Again, a summary of my story, I was with the friends, I was with the fellas. I started getting into basketball because it was therapy for me for what was going on in my crib.
Mhm.
So I would walk across the 34th to release what was going on in my crib. And then basketball was something that was just natural to me because my pop. So it was hereditary almost.
Yeah.
So from a person that done it all unorthodox, for guys that's hard, it's very hard to make it to the league. It's probably 1% to 2% that make it to the league worldwide.
For sure.
I made it. I didn't stick. I could have stuck if I had an agent. I walked in both situations without an agent. I was speaking on my own behalf. And so that's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So when you see a talent coming in with all this talent and then they don't see support, it's like, why? But that's another episode, as you said, we'll speak about that I could get into
We're gonna have you back.
would derail me from being able to, some agents being like, maybe, maybe not. But, sometimes, guys, if you're dreaming, don't let nobody really like take you off that course.
Sure.
Whatever your dream is, especially I'm again speaking specifically basketball. Basketball is easy to obtain as long as you're working.
Right.
The era you guys are in is so much exposure. You got a guy like this young entrepreneur doing his thing that gives platforms for you young guys. If he see potential in you, I'm sure he'll be able to give you a day in the light to be able to express yourself and see what you're trying to get into. So there's many outlets today, whereas in our day, we had a newspaper, we had word of mouth.
Yeah,
And
right.
I was able to put myself in positions with like guys like Rodney Parker, Brad Slicer, Billy Slicer, because these guys put me in gyms with the Reebok Club and Lifetime Club around guys like Ben Gordon, and Ben Gordon was that. Around
Mhm.
Smith Sparkin was that. So I got to be an underdog and learn. And guys, just humble yourself.
Okay.
Humble yourself. Humble yourself. So That's my message for the youngers. That's my message for guys that's just trying to get there. I'm gonna be big. I'm gonna be a mogul.
I know that. Your energy is infectious. Your conversation. I used to say this a lot, but this has been one of the best conversations, the most authentic, right? Guys, at the end of the day, y'all are athletes, former athletes, current athletes, and guys love to talk about themselves. You not only talked about yourself, but you did a lot of teaching tonight. You did a lot of schooling tonight. And so I want to say thank you again, brother.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate you, man. Everybody that tapped in tonight, that is Cheyne Gadson, y'all. I need to read a comment right now real quick before we go, because I think this puts a bow on this conversation right now. This comes from my guy Fish. Fish is a brother, really, but he supports everything AllBall TV, and that brother's insane, man. We love Fish. But Fish said he needs to be a speaker at the NBA pre-draft seminar. So that is just coming from somebody who is just watching from afar, was able to watch you for the last hour and a half, and was able to, take that away. Like, yo, this brother needs to be speaking not only to Flea, but to a lot of other people. So Cheyne, we appreciate you, man. You will be back, because I will be back. Hey, Cheyne, we need you back. You will be back, man. Thank you, brother. We appreciate
Thank you, man. Thank you for being professional, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. This is like I told you offline, but I'll tell it to you right now. Passionate about this. Extremely genuine, extremely authentic. Not looking for the next viral moment, and not looking to jam you up, because I know you have some aspirations to be on the sidelines in the association, man. So I can't wait for that for you. And this is a connection for life going forward now, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I thank you for, before we exit, man, you was very, very professional about letting me know kind of your outline and what you wanted to get into. I have endeavors in getting into the league. For those that are out there that may have listened or will listen later, I have a big documentary coming. We haven't dove into the juicy stories. Respect to him. I have inspirations to get back in the league to coach. And I think some of that stuff should be saved until. So thank you.
Absolutely, brother. We're going to see you again. We locked in, man. And thank you again, bro. We appreciate you, man.
Salute, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Appreciate everybody that tapped in tonight, y'all. That was the first All We Live episode on AllBall TV channel. We're going to be here from now on, tapping in. Got the great conversations back rolling for y'all. I'm going to be back very, very soon with another great conversation from one of the best basketball players to ever touch a rock. This is just what we do. We appreciate and love everybody that tapped in. And I'll see y'all soon. Big Flea, never the little one. Peace.
AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
Deja un like, comentario.
Y suscribe.